Welcome back to our weekly edition of Smoke Signals. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach and athletic director Chris Tabor. The Fightin Indians hit the road last week for the first time and went over to Palestine for the Highway 79 rivalry. And Coach, Mama said there'd be days like this. It just wasn't meant to be. The game started off very fast and then kind of slowed down a little bit, and then Palestine just kind of asserted themselves.
Yeah, we just didn't play well. The first half was exactly what you said. It was not what we wanted coming out. We started, offensively got down and scored, and then just kind of hit a lull for about a quarter and a half. And defensively, we just struggled all night. We didn't tackle well. Kids weren't reading their keys and weren't making plays. So it made a long night.
Yeah, you got to give Palestine credit. They ran the zone read well. They ran tough. Second half was much better, though. I don't know what you and your staff said at the half, but you came out in the second half and you actually won that half 21-14, I should say. But too much, you spotted them too much in the first half.
That was the deal. We went into half, and we still love our kids because they don't hit the panic button. They don't get down. I mean, they kept fighting the whole game. We just didn't play good football. And offensively, I thought we made some adjustments that gave ourselves some opportunities to kind of control the clock and score some points. And 3 out of the first 4 possessions in the second half, we scored touchdowns. So we just never stopped them. We never gave ourselves an opportunity to close the gap to a one-score game or actually tie it up. So, and that's what, like we said, non-district's for. We're still trying to figure out where those 11 kids fit. And this week you'll see some changes.
You said something really interesting in your post-game interview with me. I brought up the fact that, which we've been saying ever since the get-go, 9 sophomores, 2 freshmen, and you said something interesting. You said that's over. These are varsity football players. Elaborate a little bit, if you would, about that and what you meant by that.
Well, we don't look at them as sophomores and freshmen. When they put on a varsity uniform, they're a varsity football player to us, and if we didn't think they could do it, they wouldn't be up. So we're not going to use excuses. We coach just like everybody else coaches. We got to do a better job of getting our kids prepared and getting the younger kids caught up to the older kids so they can play and be successful on Friday nights. And we had 18 practices. We had a scrimmage. We've had 2 games now. Now we got to start shuffling around and see who fits where and what gives us the best opportunity with 11 guys on the field to be successful. And that's what this is for. It's like I talked this morning to the paper. Every week is a week to try to get better. And that's what we got to get out of each week. Last week we didn't get better from Carthage. We kind of dropped a step. So this week going into Gilmer's an excellent football team. Our ultimate goal when we walk off the field Friday night, win or lose, because it has no bearing on us going to playoffs, is are we a better football team after Friday night than we were last Friday night? That's what we're trying to get across our kids on a weekly basis.
And I think people miss that with these non-district ball games. The rankings come out and teams build their rankings in the non-district, but it's all about district. It's right. That's where it points to, and like I'm telling you something you don't know. But I think after a ball game like last Friday night, it's time to bring the perspective in, see what these games are about. And I know that you said you're not making excuses, but there are players that have not played on Friday night yet,
right.
And they're getting better. Maybe a little bit of regression last week, and I want to ask you about that. Were some of the plays that Palestine made offensively, the big plays they had, was it more a physical error that Jacksonville was making, or was it mental?
It was a little bit of both, and we tell our kids all the time, especially at this level, and the higher level you go up to, whether it's college or NFL, you got to read keys, and offensive linemen are read keys for us, and they tell you where the ball's going. And if you watch film, we don't have a lot of kids reading their keys. They're trying to run around, play football, and do someone else's job and not their job, and they're putting their buddy next to them. They're sacrificing them because they're trying to do something that they don't need to do, and we're just out of position all night long. We didn't tackle well. We weren't physical. If you look at us on Friday night, 9 times out of 10, we had someone there to make the play. We just didn't make the play.
Yeah.
And that's where we got to get to. And your non-district and district, I'd rather it happen week 2 than week 8. If it's happening in district, now we're really not reaping the benefits of being on schedule where we need to be, and it's hurting us for playoff time.
Well, Gilmer's coming in Friday night. It doesn't get any easier. The Buckeyes, ranked number 2 in the state, right behind Carthage, who you played in week 1. They had a time last week, got a little bit of revenge. They played Prestonwood Christian Academy out of Plano. They got beat by them last year up there. But boy, the guys came out of Plano down to East Texas, and Gilmer put the hit on them, scored 67.
Gilmer's very talented. You know, you're talking about a team that returns almost all their starters from a state finalist team last year. You know, the kids have been in the system for 7 years now. I mean, they're good. And Coach Traylor and their staff do an excellent job of getting those kids prepared. And it shows, you know. And, you know, talking to Jeff yesterday, you know, he just said, Coach, you know, when you got the skilled kids like we have this year, it makes our job a lot easier. And I know exactly what he's talking about. I've been in his shoes. When you have the skilled kids to make it happen, it does make your job a lot easier. It makes you look like a better coach. So they're going to come in here, you know, on a roll. They're in mid-season form right now. They're playing well. They're averaging 60 points a game. I mean, we've got to slow them down and give ourselves an opportunity to stay in the game late and get it to the fourth quarter with a chance to win it.
Of course, Tanner Barr's back at quarterback, and the son of defensive coach Todd Barr, who was here for several years. And he started last year as a junior, and then he's just picked up where he left off. Chase Tate, a 4-year starter. Josh Walker, the A&M commit at linebacker, who sees some offensive time. I mean, you just go down the road with these guys, and this is a good football team, talented on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they're very talented. They're very disciplined. You know, they understand the scheme of what they're trying to do and where everybody's supposed to fit. And it's exactly where we're trying to get to is each of the 11 guys on defense do their job. And they count on the guy next to them doing their job. And that's what we're trying to get to. The same thing on offense. You know, they don't do a whole lot. They're not real flashy. They just do it well. And that's where we got to kind of counter that this week and do our job and be where we're supposed to be and then make plays in open field.
Is that where the focus is defensively right now, is just making sure that you have your job? Because you kind of get, when the play's going, you kind of look around to see who else is doing what, and then all of a sudden here comes your direction. Right. Is that the scheme right now?
It is, and that's what we're trying to get them better at is the technique of their position and doing their job. You know, last week what we saw was they run a zone read and they're running outside zone at us, and we had receivers blocking our outside linebackers. Well, that's unacceptable. Our outside linebackers ought to be the more physical of the two and ought to be able to go punch and set the edge on and turn everything back inside to the inside linebackers, and we weren't seeing that. And they were getting outside of us all night. And, you know, when you get outside and there's 2-on-1, you're going to have success.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when you have the Athletes Palace team.
That's right.
And, you mentioned we were in position to make the play last week. Several times on those passing routes, particularly in the first drive on the second play of the game or first play of the game, whichever one it was, right there to make the play. Just didn't execute. I mean, so the position-wise on some of the passing plays, which Gilmer coming in this week, man, it is going to be all about positioning.
That's right.
And you got to wrap up and tackle those guys once they catch the ball.
Yeah, and, you know, we've been hit on a bunch of big plays in the passing game this year, and probably all of them except maybe one, we had somebody draped all over them. At some point, we've got to go up and contend for that football and make a play, and that's where we're at right now. We're in position in the secondary, but we're not getting up, getting our eyes on the ball and making a play. In the front half, it's making the tackle when you're there, and that's what we're not seeing, and that's what we got to get better, and that's what we're emphasizing.
Offensively, week 1 against Carthage, you ran the ball well. Last week, Stewart was back at center, and we're going to talk about the offensive line more in a minute, but you had some changes up there. You're still trying to find that unit, aren't you? Because it was evident last week it just wasn't there. The running game wasn't like it was in week 1.
Well, the problem is our left guard was out last week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We had to move one to left guard, and then our right guard missed practice, so he didn't start. And I mean, we had some things that we had to deal with, and we got it, arranged this week. But last week it was a different O-line than what we had the first week, and you'll see this week it'll be more back to where it was, just because Xavier should be back. Our right guard that missed practice is going to be ready to roll, and we'll be better there. But the rushing game also suffered because we were down 21 points.
Yeah.
And you can't run the ball as much as you want to run it when you're playing chase and trying to catch up early in the game. So,
And obviously Gilmer's offense, you want to keep them off the field. But let's talk about their defense, because I don't think they get enough credit that their offense has always had over the years with Coach Traylor and Matt Turner there. But their defense is quick. They plug the holes. They haven't given up too many points to a couple of quality teams the last couple of weeks. Talk about what you'll do offensively against them. I mean, I know you want to get the running game going and keep the ball away.
Right, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get the running game going. That's what we kind of worked on a bunch yesterday is, be able to slow it down just a little bit. I mean, we don't want to take ourselves out of our tempo. That's going to sacrifice points, but we do need to slow it and make sure we're looking at what we want to run it at and making sure we're attacking them in the areas that we feel we can attack them and not just running plays at them. So you'll see a little bit more of the running game this week and play action and stuff off of it, just trying they're a blitz team. They're going to try to heat you up, so you'll see some more, max protection and stuff like that. So, we're going to do what we can to be successful.
It's homecoming.
Yeah.
The coach is not your favorite week of the year
No.
with all the activities, but hey, it's for the kids.
It is.
And it's early this year, quite early, and it's based on scheduling, I'm sure. But that's just an extra element to come into the outside. And, after a couple of weeks that you've had, I know the focus is the most important thing this week with all the activities and stuff.
It is. And homecoming's not for our kids. It's for the school
Sure.
and the people who've graduated in the past to come back and see, their alma mater play football and be around some of their friends that they haven't seen in a while. So it's not for us. And I try to tell the kids that, it's an exciting week and there's a lot to do going on. We have different days of the week that we're dressing up as Nerd Day and Jersey Day, and we got all this stuff going on. But they got to understand, homecoming is not geared for them. They're playing in a homecoming game that's geared for the people who have been here in the past and are coming back. So that's where we got to keep our focus on the task at hand, and it's exciting and it is scheduling. I don't ever want to play a homecoming game during district because I don't want that distraction during a game that actually counts. So with this only having 2 home games in the non-district, that's why we moved it to the Gilmer game. So
yeah, you wouldn't have been able to have homecoming until late October with John Tyler, and that's pretty late. So
and then you got band night, and you got senior night. And, you really don't have a lot of opportunities.
You don't. So back to Gilmer. This week is obviously you're trying to get better each week, as you said. How's practice been so far? Attitude? You got dinged up a little bit, had a few little nicks and bruises, which everybody has come the first couple of ball games. How you feeling going into this week as far as some of those dings and dats, the things the kid had?
We're just like everybody else, like you said, but everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
We're still missing Stephen Ross, one of our linebackers, but we got Darian Parks back, this week, so we're still healthy in that aspect. Practice yesterday was good. We got what we needed to get done, and you had some new wrinkles that we threw in. That always Monday is going to be a little bit more sluggish than your Tuesdays and Wednesdays because it's new stuff. It's your install day, so we expect to come out today and have a more polished practice and a little bit more high intensity and get after it.
Coach, let's do as we always do at this time. Let's talk about the keys to the game to get the win against Gilmer.
Tackle. We got to tackle. They're explosive on the offensive side of the ball, and if we let their little running backs and receivers, little skill kids get loose, they're going to hurt us. So if we can be, point of attack, get them on the ground, or at least get them wrapped up where everybody can get to, I think you'll see us have some success. We had success last year against them. They had the same kids. We came out and actually had a 24-6 lead at halftime, and so we can do it. It's just the execution's got to be there Friday night. Yeah,
and last year, recalling Travis missed that 47-yard kick at the end of the ball game, just short to win it. And as you said, this is a team in Gilmer that went to the finals last year at Arlington Stadium, got beat by Navasota, but same kids. They didn't lose a whole lot.
No, they didn't. They got them all back. So it's just us. It's execution. We're putting points up on offense, and we got to continue to do that. And then defense, they'll get some stops for us and give us an opportunity, and that's what you're looking for. You got to keep it within a one-score game all night long. Whether you're ahead or behind, you got to give yourself an opportunity going into the fourth quarter to have a chance to tie it, win it, go to overtime, whatever we have to do to finish it.
Well, the Gilmer Buckeyes coming in ranked number 2 in the state in Class 3A. They'll be at Tomato Bowl this Friday night. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock, kickoff at 7:30 between Jacksonville and Gilmer for homecoming, which will have all their festivities during the pregame. So remember that. For head coach Chris Tabor, I'm Matt Montgomery. We'll see you next time right here on Smoke Signal.